All right, guys. So I'm sure you've heard the craziness. UFC 279, Hamzat Chimaev misses weight by what, 7.5, 8 pounds? I would have to double check. But regardless, not even close. Not even close. And all while doing this with the coolest, I'm too cool smirk and smile on his face. And at the end of the flex, he gives a middle finger. I don't know what that's all about. But part of me has to wonder if something happened behind the scenes, as in Thursday night, because I feel like he was on track to make weight. I don't really know him for missing weight. I know that one issue he had with the towel thing. Him and DC had a good laugh about it. He tried to do the towel trick, but DC got away with it. But Hamza didn't. They told him to go back and go cut the weight. He came back. He made the weight. Now, this situation is a lot different. He misses weight by a chunk. That's not something that you could just say, go to the sauna for another half an hour, come back, you make the weight, everything's good to go, main event still intact. Nope. He had to make 171 pounds. Did not happen. And I do question what happened last night in the final hours of the wake up. Because you come in, you step on the scale, you're smiling, doesn't look like you're sucked out, doesn't look like you were trying to get down where you look drained. Where you see most people that miss weight, they usually look drained and they're usually disappointed after they make weight. Well, technically they don't make weight, right? So they're disappointed. They're drawn out in the face. Hamza looks ripped, doesn't look drawn out in the face, smiling, misses weight, gives the finger, the bird, and walks off and says, pretty much before he walked off, he goes, that's not that bad. And I'm just like, I don't even understand. So now when you think about it, it's like, was this like planned from a while ago in terms of like maybe an FU to Diaz, or maybe an FU to, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like what, I don't know what the thought process is behind that, like at all. It's kind of, I'm baffled because now you see the whole altercation thing that happened with Kevin Holland behind the scenes before the press conference that was supposed to happen on Thursday. That did not happen. It was between Hamzat's team and Holland's. Then Diaz's team got involved, I heard. And then maybe some other craziness happened. I heard there was like a group of like 40 and 45 or something like that. It was just an all-out like Sharks versus the Jets. If you ever watched the West Side Story, the Sharks versus the Jets, and they're coming down, they had the blades out and they're snapping their fingers and they're getting ready to shank a mofo. You know what I mean? So I do wonder if maybe they thought like something was going to happen with the matchup with Diaz. So maybe they thought like maybe there's a chance we fight somebody else. Or, stay with me, I know that sounds ridiculous, but then what if, because the commission will do this, if you're outside of a certain range, which I think is 5 pounds. I thought it was 10, but we discussed this a little bit early on. I think it's 5 pounds. If you are outside of a 5-pound limit from your opponent, the commission won't allow the fight to go on. So I did wonder if maybe one of the other guys gave information that, hey, maybe you need to come in at a certain amount because X opponent might come in at this weight, so the fight might not happen. But then again, Holland is stepping in, right? And I'm pretty sure Holland weighed in at 71. I might need to double check that just to fact check. And with Holland stepping in at that weight, you would think that that discrepancy between the weight classes would cause that fight to be canceled, but that's not the case. So that's why, yeah, Hamza came in at 178 and a half. So that is confirmed. So now I'm just confused because you would see a guy come in at 171. Remember, the weight class discrepancy is supposed to be 5 pounds. Hamza at 178 and a half. Oh, I think what happened. Okay, now, so sorry. So I think Holland and D-Rod was a catch weight at about 180. So that allows for the fight to continue, if I'm not mistaken. So with that being said, the fight is allowed to go on. As they say, the show must go on. So then I wondered if something happened behind the scenes that prompted Hamza to say, you know what, let's just weigh in heavier because that fight's not going to happen and then this fight will happen. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I don't have any other way to describe this or to justify what happened. But when you see a guy come in and he's chilling, doesn't look sucked out in the face, you do wonder, did they try? And Hamza is a hard worker. And I got to make sure I fully say this because I know he heard an interview and he was trying to say like I wrote him off to winning the fight with Diaz. I'm like, I never once said that. Never once said that, brother. I respect you. I respect what you do. I respect Diaz. I respect what he does. Obviously, we're all in the same sport, and anything can happen. This is the craziest sport out there, in my opinion. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that I do disclose. I know he works hard. I've seen the guy train before. The guy's a dog. You know, technical, hardworking guy. And then when you see that, again, to the untrained eye. But to me, I'm obviously trained. If you see that on first look on paper, you're like, did this guy even try to make weight? That's the craziest part for me. So I just have to try to justify everything that has happened in this whole debacle. Now you have the Leech no longer fighting Tony Ferguson. The Leech is fighting D-Rod. And then you have Nate Diaz taking on Tony Ferguson in a great match. I love that matchup. That matchup should have happened years ago. Okay, we got it now. Maybe both towards the end of their career in MMA, but it's still going to be a super fun, fan-friendly fight. Both of them more their speed in terms of age, and I think they're going to bring the heat, and it's going to be a fun fight for the fans. The fans win with that. Somebody's getting stocked and slapped. Someone's getting El Kakui'd with the elbows. It's going to be a fun fight. I think it's more competitive than it would have been Hamzat versus Nate, even though Nate's always going to be in the fight, so let me clarify. Nate's always in the fight. One punch away, just like we saw with Leon Edwards, one punch away from turning the complete tables on his opponents. But on paper, Hamzat was the guy predicted to win as predicted by the odds. Like, I think we could all say that. And like Nate said in his interviews, if the odds are so crazy, he needs to go out there and do what they say he's going to do then, right? Okay. So I get all that. So you see this happening, and I see him get on the scale, and I'm just like, all right, there has to be something else to the backstory that they're not telling us, because there's no way this guy just comes in and says, I'm just going to weigh in at 178.5 pounds. That's just crazy. Like, dude, you legitimately didn't even try. But I'm excited for the matchup either way, and albeit Kevin Holland taking this on super short notice, the only thing that reminds me anything close to this is Ali Quinto taking on Khabib Nurmagomedov, 1 day's notice, 5-round fight, getting ready for a 3-round fight. Now you're in a 5-round fight. And you're fighting a wrestler who you did not train for. You were fighting a striker. It's a big difference in stylistic matchup. And hopefully Kevin could do his best to at least put his best foot forward and give his best efforts. It's for a guy who is training for a 5-rounder versus a 3-rounder. And just make it fun. And who knows? Like I said, crazy things have happened in the sport. And that's why we watch the fights, because you just never know. You know, so it's as the UFC would say, it's as real as it gets. So I'm excited for this. Man, may the better man win. Obviously, we know who's going to have the advantage in terms of the cardio department and the wrestling department. But now this is a main event where you got two younger guys fighting each other versus an old guard versus the new guard, and kind of what people would say, two different trajectories of their career, so to speak. At the end of the day, I'm a Nick Diaz fan for life. Nate Diaz fan for life. I'm going to always be watching those guys and whatever the hell they do. Holland, I'm an MMA fan at the end of the day, so I watch all this shit. So no matter what, who's fighting, I'm going to be in there watching, and I can't wait to see the show tomorrow. I will be in attendance. And again, if you remember, gfuel.com, use my promo code ALJO for 30% off all the way leading up to September 12th off all flavors. Anything on the site, Aljamain. I say Aljamain. gfuel.com, promo code ALJO. Go use that code, get yourself 30% off. And I'm signing off. May the best man win. I don't know what to make of this. Heads or tails, hats, asses, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be a very interesting weekend, from the press conference to the weights to the switch up of the matchups. It's just like this whole thing could only get worse or better from here, right? Something like that. Something like that. All right. I'll see you guys later, and stay tuned for the fights. Peace.